Hey guys, welcome to episode 0 of Hey Guys, Is This Anything? A little bit of context before we move into this. We kind of hit record without any sort of plan or idea of what we were going to do. And we also did so right in the middle of Dingy sending me a photo of his audio setup, which, to put it kindly, was interesting to say the least. Just wanted to give some context to that before we jumped into it because it's pretty jarring if you don't understand what's going on. But thanks for giving this a listen. If you're listening to this way in the future when we've done a bunch more episodes and you find this hard to listen to, trust me, we probably feel the same way about it. But anyway, thanks and hope you enjoy. Okay, bye. God forbid I make any fucking noise.
I'm
Oh, no.
so I don't actually
Oh, no.
before you judge me too hard, this is what I've been using for the past 4 years, and the only problem is that I need to continuously replace the batteries as they run out. But like that's usually after a couple of days, so we're fine.
Oh.
So let me walk you through this.
Oh.
I have a Rode shotgun mic on a little suction cup tripod. And then I speak into that. And then that, because the signal directly out of that isn't strong enough to just go into the rear panel audio on my PC, I send it through this little Zoom H1 recorder, purely just to boost the signal. And then I take the output from that and send the boosted signal out into the rear panel microphone jack of my PC. Now, I don't use the front microphone jack because it's been broken for 4 years. And then, if you'll notice, there's a little guitar amplifier in the background. Ooh, who's that?
I'm looking at
excuse,
it.
Oh, hi there. Little Boss Katana. That's my audio output because my front panel IO on my PC, like the microphone and headphone jack don't work. They haven't worked forever because I accidentally broke it once. And then I replaced it. I got a replacement from Be Quiet, who makes my PC tower, but it didn't have the 3-way fan speed setting. So I was like, oh, I'll just like take the jacks themselves and desolder it and solder it onto the old board. And then I have now 2 ruined front panel IO boards because I really botched the job. So now I just have everything going to my motherboard. My Boss Katana is my output.
This sucks.
Does it?
This sucks so bad.
Does it sound good though?
It sounds fine.
So we're
and
good.
That's what bothers me the most is you should not sound like this.
I think collectively all this stuff. Well, okay, so the Boss Katana costs like $300 at the time. You probably get it for like $100 now. The shotgun mic you get cheap. I think all said and done, my whole audio setup is probably like 150, $200.
The mount is my favorite fucking part of this entire thing.
I have 2 of these and one of them broke at one point because I did used to use those to like suction GoPros onto things. And now it just perpetually lives on my desk.
Audio listeners, I want you to be aware.
Are we rolling?
I'm just fucking talking at this point. There is a full-on hand grenade.
Oh,
Just also in this entire desk setup. I just want to make sure that doesn't get glossed over. I feel like while not the funniest part of this setup, it is still notable.
Kez, tell me, what is the funniest part of my setup?
Oh, where do I start?
Let's just start listing off a few things that are on my desk, I guess.
There's a couple crabs.
Yeah, there is more than one. There's a non-zero number of
Plural crabs.
There's little crab pen holders. There's a non-zero number of them. Yeah.
Is that D-cell battery, the Energizer next to your boss, is that good or is that just a dead battery you've got chilling there?
That 9-volt battery?
Oh, the 9 volt, yeah.
Yeah, that's dead. And actually, I just pulled that one out of my microphone because technically it was working, but there was like a lot of issue with the signal, let's call it. So I replaced the battery just for this. What you can't really see is just to the left of that, there's a little plastic bag, and it is full of dead batteries. It's entirely full of dead batteries because I don't know what to do with them.
Just don't want to throw them away, but you don't.
Well, that's bad for the environment, and I don't want to go recycle them because I have to go somewhere to do that. So they just live in a plastic bag on my desk.
Yeah, because I have no room to talk. I'll say that much.
You think you're hot shit because you actually make music.
You a fucking picture.
Yeah, send me a picture of your clean ass setup. I imagine your setup is spotless. And for some reason, I imagine that you're just like super minimalist, which I don't think is true. I'm maximalist. I'm not even maximalist. I'm just, wow, I have more batteries.
I'm a Carl Maximalist.
All right.
Carl Nope.
Podcast over. Thank you for listening.
Is this anything?
Is this anything?
Here you go.
I noticed.
There's that.
I noticed you're not. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Your setup is really clean. Wait.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you still have a bird?
What? I told you. I had to let her out of her cage or else she was going to be really pissy upset.
I didn't know you still had I thought you used to have a bird and then you didn't for a long time. Is this bird new?
No, this is Fiona.
You've just always had Fiona?
2018. Yeah, I've had her the entire time I've known you.
I guess it has occurred to me that I've never been to anywhere that you lived. So
to be fair, she's always been in like Tucson, and I have not always been in Tucson.
Okay.
Okay, let me take a fucking picture of this setup.
Yeah. You kind of sound like Brian David Gilbert, and I think that's a compliment. What are your thoughts?
That's the hottest thing anyone's ever said to me in my life.
I mean, Brian David Gilbert, pretty good.
Brian David Gilbert is... I couldn't decide between my husband and my dad. And to say both would be kind of weird, I think. I think to say either would be weird, but I think merging the two together is a new level of odd. Anyway, yeah, how do you feel about this setup here?
Looks like someone has money. My screen's wider, so I got that on you.
Your screen... Wait. Let me go back to your picture that I have fully... Oh,
Hold
you
up.
have...
Let me take one from further away.
Yeah, you've got a big-ass fucking curve monitor there. What the fuck? My shit looks all cluttered right now. I promise it usually looks better than that.
Well, it looks better. Have you seen my desk? There's a grenade. There's there's an actual hand grenade sitting on my desk, Kez. The worst thing that you have on yours is like that trackball mouse, which I have two. I have two of those. Not that.
I love this.
Not the thumb type. I have the ones where I use my my pointer and middle finger though.
Oh, no, I love my ball that I get to fondle.
Did you pull it out and just kind of like play with it when you're thinking? Because I do.
I do that when I need to clean it because it gets all gunky real quickly.
They do gunk up, and then they
get all gonky gonky.
If you clean them too good, then they like don't roll as well anymore because they need a little bit of grease. You know what I'm
just
saying?
rub it in my hair a little bit and just toss her back in.
Yeah, easy.
Just grease her up, baby.
Grease her up.
Grease her up.
Has the podcast started?
I was gonna ask. I feel like we've just been kind of talking for the last 10 minutes.
But isn't that a podcast?
This is kind of the vibe, I think, for episode 1 is zero expectations. And that way, when we look back on this in 5 years, when we're telling people not to listen from here and to start later, at least the first, this picture is so fucking funny.
I got my knees in there for you. I like that inherently this is an audio medium. So anytime I send an image or anyone sends an image or we talk about anything that we can see, it does not matter. And it in fact will make people very angry.
I mean, it's fine.
Well,
maybe later we can incorporate visuals, but I
Yeah.
think for a first run at it,
Yeah. No
we're giving
visuals.
her the old college try.
This is a blind podcast for blind people.
For blind people only. If you are visually unimpaired.
What? Visually paired, I guess? What's the opposite of what's the opposite of
if you
impaired?
have two eyes. This sucks. This is anything.
Let's see. I looked up antonyms for impair. Opposite, improve. Visually improved people.
We should have named this fucking podcast Is This Anything?
Here's the thing, Kez. And I was actually thinking, because I was kind of afraid that we wouldn't have anything to talk about. Like, it would start and we would like say two jokes and then that would be it. But I think it'd be kind of fun if we did a sort of let's figure out how to name this podcast sort of thing. Because the plan was Sledge and Dinghy halftime power hour extravaganza.
Sledge and Dinghy, huh?
Sorry.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just me, myself, and I.
Kicked from the podcast day one. Feels great.
Yeah. Kez and Dinghy, power hour, halftime, spectacular, etc., etc. But
that's wild.
I don't think it has to be that. I think that could be the name of the eventual live show. And I like that also we're planning that far ahead.
Yeah, because we know this is going to be successful.
Yeah. I think
it's funny to say it because either we're wrong and it's a great bit.
Yeah.
Or we're right and we're just so
it's
fucking
still a
good.
great bit.
Mm-hmm.
I like
I
that.
just spit my drink everywhere.
You know how I listen to a lot of podcasts. I just made a lot of noise. Let me get a clean one. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Unlistenable. Okay. I listen to a lot of podcasts. And I think most people are just like, yeah, we just like to talk about movies, with my friends. And then eventually we start a podcast. I think we're the only people that decided we're just going to start a podcast first and then kind of figure out what it is, Like, we don't actually have a plan. And I like that.
For audio listeners, not that there is any other medium that you
visual
can
listeners.
Currently. Yeah, there's no other medium to consume this in. I guess maybe visual if it's Anyway, I'm going to get too deep into the weeds. I've known you for 2.5 years.
2.5.
We met January of 2022.
Yeah.
So
at PDFC, right?
2.5 years. Yes. At ye old furry convention in Phoenix, Arizona. But pretty much from day one, we talked about, like, wouldn't it be funny if we did a podcast? And this has been in the works for over 2 years. And by in the works, every few months we'll be like, remember when we talked about doing a podcast? We'll laugh about it and then not speak about it for another few months. So that's the amount of effort and work that's been put into this thus far.
I'm an optimist, and I'm a little, I'll say it, I'm pretty perfect. So I think taking this as a joke instead of trying to take it seriously will really benefit us.
I mean, that's how we've gotten to this point. There's never been a time where you and I have been serious in the same room ever.
We are not serious Sallys. We're
not.
We are joking Jills, if anything.
Would you say joke on my Jill?
Okay, we're not doing that. One take Jake. I like that one a lot. I think we'll get it in one.
I'm definitely not a one take Jake. That's the irony. So right before we start recording this shit, we're just talking about editing and whatnot because we're both really good at computers and we're very ready to record this.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just downloaded Audacity.
That's crazy. I miss Audacity. I miss simplicity.
You know that Audacity is free and you can just use that.
That is true, but then I feel like the amount of money I've invested into all of this shit.
Simply not worth it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Audio listeners.
I hate that people say that on podcasts. What else?
I do too.
What else?
Which is why I'm going to drive it into the fucking dirt. It's going to just be the most unfunny bit, and I'm here for it.
It's going to be
But yeah, audio listeners, I have spent too much money on audio gear because I am a musician and decided one day that I was going to try and get good at it. And so I have just the goofiest bedroom producer setup you've ever seen.
I noticed that you're not in the doc.
You notice that I'm not in the doc?
Yeah, the Google Doc. So I don't.
Oh,
We just been recording for
we just
20
kind of
minutes.
going. Docs. Google. It's funny, I don't save links or anything. I implicitly trust my search history to retain things long enough that when I need to go back to it, I can just start typing the URL and it will just be there. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I do that too, though. Who saves links?
I do.
Oh, but you just said you didn't.
Fuck off.
Oh, okay.
Leave me alone.
So I
forgot about half of the shit in this document.
Yeah, it also, our little stint from the other day has really kind of ruined it a little bit.
Audio listeners, for those of you who weren't there, which is all of you, we decided that it was too much work to go back and forth between various chatting platforms to discuss this Google Doc, which is nothing more than just ideas for bits. And rather than bouncing back and forth, we just started talking in the Google document. It may come as a shock. It actually really sucks to do that.
There's no timestamps. There's no record of who said what. It's just more bullet points. Okay, like I said, I was a little nervous because we haven't done this. We don't know how to do a podcast. So I thought that I would look up how to do a podcast. And we could kind of go through some of the things the various websites say. And we could kind of make sure we hit those points.
Your brain works in ways that the meager mind cannot fathom.
Absolutely.
I'm here for that. I'm ready to embrace your dream and your vision. I'm just here for the ride, you know?
Great. So this one's from a website called libsyn.com. Let me pop that to you. There you go. Step one, I like how it says refine your podcast concept and then parentheses, how to use AI. So we're off to a ripping start here.
Oh, lovely. Also, audio listeners, just self-disclosure, I've never been real. I am AI. This is just a really, really, really sad one-person podcast where the other host is just a computer. So carry on.
Yeah, I'm effectively talking to myself. It says, let's get back to the page. It says, start a podcast topic list with AI. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to follow the directions. I think that'd be a good thing to do.
Where are you on this page?
Scroll down a little bit. I'm going to use Google Gemini. And I'm just going to ask, give me some podcast topics for a comedic podcast.
Oh, are we supposed to be funny?
Well, I don't have to be. All right. Right off the bat, huge. Absurd takes on everyday things. So something like misinterpreting IKEA instructions, a dramatic reading. We could do life hacks for fictional characters. We could do worst historical decisions debated by armchair experts. That one sounds funny, and I don't know why it's under the topic of absurd takes on everyday things, because I would argue that historical decisions aren't every day. Inherently, they can't be every day because they're historical and they already happened.
I mean, maybe if that's all you talk about, I don't know. That's crazy.
Okay. Well, okay, here's another sort of umbrella topic. Weird news with a twist. And under this,
what does that mean?
It says Florida man versus insert location. Man, : who wins this week's headline insanity? pit the craziest news stories from different regions against each other in a battle for absurdity. We also got Conspiracy Corner, debunking the debunkable.
Here's the issue with that is
his head
I
just
want to
did that.
promote them. I want these conspiracies to get longer legs. I want people to really adopt the worst that our media zeitgeist has to offer. I want to be the misinformation station, baby. I'm ready to cash out and be the cash cow that is alternative media. Let's go. It's time.
Forget about Miss America. You want to be misinformation.
True. I'll settle for miscongeniality, but that works too.
Here's the topic: cooking with Lost in Translation. Let's try that recipe. I love the idea of a podcast that is the sounds of you cooking.
If we could, especially if there is no visual media, because you don't get to see it, you don't get to smell it, you don't get to taste it.
You get to hear it. I can't think of a worse thing to listen to than food.
Honestly, yeah, whether it's cooking it or eating it, both sound just abhorrent to the ears.
Yeah. We got another umbrella topic here: games and interactions. Here's one: Would You Rather, The Office Edition. Pose impossible workplace scenarios inspired by the iconic sitcom The Office. We're going back. 2010, here we come.
As someone who has seen The Office like 12 times, that's such a bad idea.
Well, I'll tell Google Gemini that, and then we'll see what its response is. But
Google Gemini was a bad idea. It's not going to take anything we say into account.
It might. Hold on. We got 2 more topics here, and these, I feel like these will really knock us into the next tier of audio listener podcasts. Celebrity fan fiction theater. Write and perform hilariously bad fan fiction stories featuring your favorite celebrities. That sounds creepy.
I hate that. As somebody who has had fan fiction written about me. Listen, audio listeners, hey, sorry, I'm eating crackers because I thought it'd be funny to have a bit where I just started eating food immediately after talking about how bad it sounds, and then I realized, no, it doesn't. It's not funny.
It turns out it sounds bad.
Audio listeners, if you ever quote unquote ship or really go into weird places with people who are real and exist, please stop. Please don't do that. That's really weird. That's it. That's the whole thing I wanted to say. It's just really weird. I don't like it.
Could we do a funny table read of the fan fiction that was written about you?
Oh my God. If I can find it, and I think I can, I'm 110% down. I would just have to cut out the explicit part.
That's what editing's for. Okay. We got one more that Google Gemini gave us, presented to us on a silver platter.
Okay,
now,
Google.
This one, I think is okay, Google.
Okay, Google.
Show me pictures of monkeys.
Okay, Google, delete everything on my phone.
Confirm. I think this one's really gonna knock it out of the park. And I don't think this one has ever been done before because it was generated by an AI, and everything that AI does is completely original. So here it is. Audience gives dating advice to fictional characters. Let your listeners weigh in on the worst dating decisions from classic literature or movies.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Here's the
we'll
thing,
get
though.
there. Maybe we'll get there.
We are so much funnier than AI.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, how do I explain the fact that I wrote the words Amanda Lamborghini? I still don't know what I meant by that.
I'm just going to Google Amanda Lamborghini.
I swear if it's something.
That's nothing. That's genuinely nothing.
I was right.
Oh, no.
I don't even
remember
remember the...
There is a Facebook account called Amanda Lamborghini. CEO at Self-Employed. I don't think this is a real person. I'll be honest with you.
How do you know it's not me?
Well, it could be. Their profile picture is a baby. So, did you click on the account? You might want to click on the account.
Did you send it?
I did. I sent it in Discord. Also, click on the banner. Maybe the worst cropped banner I have ever seen. It's a screenshot. The banner is a screenshot from a phone of another Facebook post that has baked into it 32 likes.
As I am an extraordinary innocent street flower. Hey,
Is that where that thought ends? Or
this is unusable. We can't dox Amanda Lamborghini.
I don't think we have to worry about Amanda Lamborghini. I'll be honest with you. All right. Step 1, complete. Start a podcast topic and create a list with AI.
Step 1, dox Amanda Lamborghini on Facebook.
I like how underneath step 1, where it's use AI to create a podcast, the very next point is do your podcast research, create original content. That's interesting. I don't think they know how AI works.
Yeah. That's so
no, hold
original.
on. I'm so sorry. This has all been step 1. Step 2 is about an eighth of the way down the page. And it says write down your podcast plan. How to start a podcast. Like most things, starts with solid podcast planning. Like most things, how to start a podcast, like most things, starts with oh my God, I can't. Hold on. How to start a podcast, comma, like most things, comma, starts with solid podcast planning. Most things start with solid podcast planning. Developing structures and systems to start a podcast will help you create intentional content from that first episode to your 100th. Hey, Kez, we blew it. We didn't do any of that.
Fuck. I knew we were forgetting something when we were talking about this for the last 30 months.
Yeah. And it turns out it was the whole having a plan thing.
It was the whole figuring out what the podcast was going to be. Yeah, I mean, in our defense, how important is that really? How important is it?
According to this, pretty important, but you know.
Here's the thing. I know Libsyn.com is revered as a media conglomerate that rivals that of God.
Yeah.
And should be just inherently trusted without any, concerns of bias. But in this one circumstance, I'm going to have to say it. I think we are just good at this. I think we're just crushing it inherently.
I think early on, developing characters that are absolutely insufferable will really benefit us. I think we got that down. If we just keep telling people that we're good, they're going to believe that we're good.
I feel like that is 90% of why things end up being good is because you gaslight yourself into thinking so.
Like extremely hard to listen to music.
Listen,
people are like, "Oh,
that's
it's so
all
good."
I
and it's
made
like,
for like 10 years.
This is TV static with a chainsaw in the background. That actually fucks. I would listen to that. Okay,
I would fall asleep to that. How much does it cost to start a podcast? The truth is, you can start a podcast with not a cent in your pocket as long as you have a smartphone in that pocket.
Easy. We got that. We got more than a smartphone. I think that already takes about 2 steps ahead.
I mean, the idea that we are putting so much, parentheses little, end parentheses, effort into this episode, and it's going to be on Spotify, is truly a victory for the ages.
This is going on Spotify?
Abso-fucking-lutely. You think I pay distributors so much fucking money to not put everything I do on there?
That's fair. Is this going to be an ever-ender release?
No, it's going to be the podcast itself. It's just, I have...
choice.
I have a distro plan that essentially gives me just the ability to upload as much shit as I want under as many names as I want, which I love because most of the stuff I make loses money for streaming platforms.
We're really out here sticking it to them.
If there's anything I love, it's forcing companies like Spotify to host songs and pay for them to be hosted and lose money on them. That is very funny to me.
It is pretty good.
Oh, goodness. I got to buy a car. We're back on just talking about shit, but I have to buy a car this weekend or this
for
next
the podcast.
Week. Yeah, for the podcast, I have to purchase a vehicle. Okay. It's actually, if you go back in the how to start a podcast, if you scroll down a bit, I think it's to step 5.3.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Specifically,
Yeah, it says right here. Yeah. Okay. It says buy a car for the podcast.
Buy a car, and it does not provide further instruction, which I think is odd, but I'm trusting the process. I really do think that Libsyn has got their shit on lock. I'm going to do whatever they say.
Well, and I want to go back to something you said earlier about Libsyn, about how they're, got no biases. They do seem to be trying to sell you something relating to podcasts. I'm not sure it's a hosting plan. They're selling podcast hosting plans. So I don't entirely agree that they're unbiased. But what they are enthusiasts for the podcast, for the love of the game,
I'm going to be so real with you.
Even though this benefits them, it also benefits us because they want us. So Libsyn, thanks for the sponsorship. I couldn't even get through that one. Great choice. Do you think we could just will a sponsorship?
I really think we could.
Doing ad reads.
Here's the thing. I think that if we just started spamming companies saying we have no proof of concept, but it would be really funny if you sponsored us just on good faith alone, somebody would bite. And for that reason, I am so glad to thank the sponsor of this episode.
Hey, it's featured because we didn't get one.
I'm going to fill that in with post-production audio later. Once I
editor.
Hey, what's up? It's Kez.
Editor, put the company name here.
Yeah, and then if you could just
shit, I was late. Sorry.
Okay, tagline right there. We are so thrilled to be working with.
Again, there is no company. Stop this bit.
They truly are.
Step 6, record your podcast. Because we're ahead. We're on step 6 right now. Do you believe it? We're all the way at step 6. How many steps are there? There's only 4 more steps.
I choked on my own spit.
Well, don't do that. That's not good for the audio listeners.
The audio listeners will get over it.
Do you think we could kind of revamp that and start doing some audio watching where we just kind of post the waveform on YouTube with no audio? We post
the waveform, but not the audio with the waveform. So you just click it and it plays it just muted.
Yeah. Well, because no longer are they audio listeners. Now they're audio watchers. Should that be our how every personality, I guess, has like a little name for their fan base?
Oh,
that is implying that we have
I know
fans.
where you're going with this, and I hate you so much for it.
Should ours be audio watchers? Hey, audio watchers, it's your boy, Dinghy, and I'm here to tell you how to record a podcast. How's that sound? Does that sound good?
I'm gonna be so real with you. I play a dog on the internet with endless amounts of cringe to my name, and that got me. That made me fucking recoil a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, well, maybe we need to go back a step or two.
That's definitely the problem. I think we just got too far ahead of ourselves going to step 6. I think we
are moving so fast.
We are.
We're moving way too fast. Kez, slow down.
Did we ever stop to ask, what are we?
What are we? What is this?
What are we?
Who are you?
Where am I?
I don't really like... Okay, so Libsyn, we got to step 6, record podcast, check. Step 7 through 10, we'll do that later, I guess. We'll do that in a future podcast.
Oh, you got step number 5 down easy.
Choose the best podcast equipment for you. Yeah, I did get that down because it specifies for you. It's not saying there's some standard. If I get some Shure SM7Bs, it's not going to make me sound good. It's not going to make us interesting, Kez. What makes us interesting is the content we provide and not the equipment we have. Is that clear?
Are you just using a really backwards
Make fun of my
way
setup
of saying it's not the size of the tool, it's how you use it? Is that where we're going with this?
Well, My microphone's not that big, but thanks.
I mean, fair. Mine's just. I will say, like step 4,
We're
like
moving
artwork
back.
and title creation.
Okay. Oh yeah, right.
Another
we haven't
thing
created
that-
a title.
I mean, we did, and then we bailed on it immediately.
Well, yes. Episode 1, no secrets. What do you want to know about me, Kez?
Um,
I'll tell you anything right now, and the whole world's gonna know. So pick your poison wisely.
Oh boy, that's a good one. I don't know. I feel like I already know so much about you. Like I know
That's fair.
that when you went to get your COVID vaccine, the fucking refrigerator caught fire and they lost all their COVID vaccine.
That did happen, and then I got COVID right after. Do you remember that? But you didn't. But I was hacking. I was coughing up a lung. Yeah, I was coughing up a lung in your truck while you were driving me around because we were like, oh, you know what would be quirky if we got our vaccines for fun. And then we didn't because we couldn't get it scheduled. And my vaccine refrigerator lit on fire. A couple days later, I was ill with COVID.
Everyone was.
But you didn't get it.
Almost our
'Cause you're just
entire
better.
friend group had COVID, except for me, baby.
It's pretty cool.
I wanna circle back.
It's gonna be huge.
I wanna really expand our scope. I wanna challenge the status quo a bit. We have these stand-up meetings and we try and get a wide purview, but sometimes we need to. I can't keep doing this. This sucks. I was trying to do a really long corporate jargon roundabout way of saying that Is This Anything is the best podcast title.
I do think it's really good. We should probably look and see if there's a podcast already named
I was just thinking that, but I'm like, we could look it up, find out it's in use, feel bad about that, and then have to come up with a new one. Or we could just not check.
Okay, great news. I did check, and I do apologize for that. There is a podcast named Is This Anything? 5-star rating. There's 9 ratings. Looks great. Had 112 episodes. The last episode was posted September 19th, 2022.
If it was like the 2010s, I'd be like so down to just be like, yoink.
What if now this is interesting. What if we were Is This Anything 2? Like when you get your email, but your first name's been taken or whatever, your name's been taken. So you just put a 2 at the end and you call it good.
There's a book by Jerry Seinfeld called Is This Anything?
Oh no. Jerry, come on.
It's such a good name, but we
Yeah, really good.
We can pivot. We can come up with something in that vein.
Jerome Allen Seinfeld fucked us. You've ruined us.
Just name our podcast Jerome Allen Seinfeld.
Now that's something. Now hold on. What if instead of Is This Anything, what if we go a little more cerebral, a little more existential? Is this everything?
Oh, wait.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait a second.
Now hold on. Let me look that one up.
Now, something I would like you to consider. The SEO on that name is going to be dog shit.
Terrible, because there's already a podcast called The Everything Podcast, and there, as we've established, is a podcast called Is This Anything? So combining the two,
Listen, if there's anyone who can push past the SEO, it's me. I've had to do it multiple times, multiple bands, multiple brands.
Yeah.
I trust. I love Is This Everything to a point where I'm willing to fight Google with my bare hands.
Okay. Well, okay. So I'll add that to the doc because I think that's a pretty podcast.
Audio listeners, there's an abhorrent picture of me. At the top of this doc, just fucking zoomed in on my face and squished to shit.
I was trying to save the image and then make it my desktop wallpaper to kind of fill the widescreen, but it's fine.
It's tough to watch you do anything in here. I'm going to be so real. The other day, I was crying laughing watching you trying to do line breaks to make new fucking bullet points. The struggle you had doing that was genuinely one of the funniest things I've ever witnessed, and I'm so mad I wasn't screen recording because it was just beautiful.
I was just trying to match the formatting, but on a phone, this is the part that you leave out. On a phone, it's very difficult. It's like Docs isn't designed for a phone. I like it as a statement. Is this everything? Period. Is this everything? This is, oh, when you say like, is this everything? I'm just at a store and I've just ordered a couple things. Is this everything? Are you good? Is this everything? Damn it.
I still don't hate it though.
I don't hate it, but I don't, the store aspect of it.
You're falling out of love in it.
I'm falling out of love with it because I'm at an Aldi and they're like, is this everything? And I'm like, oh shit, that's the name of my podcast. So I did ask Google Gemini
oh no,
some cool podcast names. So the exact words that I searched were cool name for a comedy podcast. So these better be cool. We got Mic Drop Mishaps. We got The Chuckle Hut. I think that's a thing already.
There's no shot Chuckle Hut's not taken.
Yeah, we got Punch Drunk Podcast. I like that one if we get a little violent down the line. This one actually fucks so hard. Serious about jokes. And then in parentheses, it says a funny juxtaposition.
Are you fucking kidding me? It had to justify itself. It had to justify itself. That's how good it is.
Now hold on. That is something though. Serious about jokes. Title. Subtitle. A funny juxtaposition. Because we juxtapose funnily. I'm gonna put that one in here. Serious about jokes.
I hate that it's made it to the doc.
Great. Okay.
Oh Lord. Yeah. What else does Google have for us?
Let's see. We got Nothing Sacred. Suggests no topics is off limits for humor.
I mean, that's kind of where we're already at, but it doesn't need to be stated so explicitly.
Nothing Sacred also makes it feel really religious or like anti-religious, you know? Are we here to make a statement? What's our agenda? Did we figure out an agenda?
I mean, I'm already here to encourage conspiracy theories. So.
Okay, well, we got that down. So let's put that in the doc. Write that down. Encourage conspiracy.
I heard there's an Alex Jones shaped hole in the fucking show sphere right now.
Yeah, you know what? We can be the new Alex Joneses. Keeping up with the Joneses. Now hold on. Is that anything? What if that was the name of our podcast title? Is that ever anything? Not is this anything? Is that anything?
I feel like if we could come up with a podcast title and then in parentheses, is this anything?
Okay, I like that. So hold on, maybe we'll call it the Alex Jones Show. He lost $1.6 billion. Did you see that?
I did, and they're trying to seize all of his social media. That shit's wild.
Which means that we can legally take his name. I think that's how that works.
That's what I'm saying. Is the man's got nothing left. There is a sucking wound in the media sphere where Alex Jones used to be, and it's ripe for the fucking.
Do you want to hear some more titles?
I would love to.
Okay. The Weekly Roast kind of sucks.
That kind of blows, yeah.
This one, though, Awkwardly Awesome.
These actually are causing me a great deal of psychic damage.
What about Social Commentary and then in parentheses with sarcasm, and then it justifies that in other parentheses, and it says clear about the tone and content.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking serious? That is funny. I would love to use that as an episode title, but I can't in good faith encourage that for the actual show.
What if we Social Commentary kind of gives me the Social Network vibes. What if we kind of commandeered that name a little bit and changed it up a little bit?
What if we went the Social Network route and stole someone else's podcast?
Okay, well, we can already do that because they haven't posted since 2022. Oh,
that's a good point. So you said there were how many episodes that they do?
122. So we need to make 123 and then it's fair game.
They did 122. How many people rated it?
It was 9 people, but it had all 5 stars. Also, it might have been 112. I don't remember. I'm not on the page anymore. I like the idea of having a placeholder. What if it was placeholder podcast? So people think that there's a problem with their podcast app.
Yeah,
Is
you know
that
what?
anything?
Yeah, that's funny. That's real good.
You don't seem as excited about this one as I am.
No, I'm so thrilled at that idea, and I think it has merit and deserves to be considered.
Okay, so excellent news. Somebody else has already considered this. uh, so, choice.
I really think it would be funny to call this podcast Is This Anything? And then open it up as a challenge to the OG Is This Anything podcast and say, you want your name back? Come and fucking take it from us, liberals.
Okay. See, now that kind of ties into the Jonesian aspects of our title.
And if they do come at us, we can address it on the show, and it's funny.
It would be pretty good. I'm sure, well, actually, I can't say I'm sure for sure, but like they look from the thumbnail like they're nice guys. So maybe they want to come on and we'll joke around together a little bit. We'll joke each other off, per se. Perchance.
I could not have said it better myself. I think.
Oh, what about the joke off podcast? It's like we're jerking it, but with jokes, with funnies, trying to milk the jokes out of everyday life. That's the description under the title.
Oh, that sucks. Oh,
the joke off podcast. Are we gonna put the name podcast or the word podcast into the title?
Absolutely fucking not. There's nothing worse, I think, than seeing a podcast with the word podcast in it.
Okay, well, so don't say that too loud because the placeholder podcast has the name placeholder podcast with podcast.
It doesn't change my opinion. I'm sorry. It blows ass.
I'm going to read you their description, and it's kind of troubling a little bit. It's a podcast, and we talk about whatever the hell we want to, like most podcasts. But ours is cooler. We promise. We'll talk about comics or TV shows or life or how much the Rise of Skywalker sucks. We've got a whole list. Join us, won't you? It's kind of what we're doing.
It is, but it sounds like they have a little more structure and a plan.
It seems like they did take step 1 and 2 a little more seriously.
I think there is something incredibly charming about the fact that we've had this in our brains for over 2 years and we did next to nothing to prepare for it. I think that's endearing.
Is that I think it's unlistenable, but
I disagree. I think the listeners are going to be like, you know what? I love listening to unstructured, off-the-cuff shit.
What kind of listening do they do?
Oh.
Audio listening.
Apologies,
Sorry.
audio listeners. Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot
Thank
that there's a distinction there.
I had no idea what you were talking about until right now.
Hey, audio listeners, I apologize if that was at all confusing. Audio watchers, on the other hand, hey, what's going on, audio watchers? Hey.
Let's give the audio watchers something really to look at. That's a nice sort of brick
that was the
that I've
worst
just
fucking
put my
sound in my
waveform.
ears, I swear to God. It's great because the audio watchers get this great little bloop on the screen, but the audio listeners are getting fucked.
Well, we can't cater to everyone at the same time. We have to pick and choose our little battles. And I chose the audio watchers that time.
You chose violence. You chose the audio. You know what? Audio listeners, I'm on your side in this. And for that reason, we're entering the ASMR zone. Hello.
And for that reason, I'm out.
And for that reason.
Editor, put a Discord disconnect sound in there for the bit, for the joke. Excuse me, editor. Excuse me, editor.
Sorry. Editor, make sure that it is lightly reverbed with a delay.
You're going to make me actually go get this?
As to accompany.
Fine.
Stop. Oh my God. It's inside of my brain. Yeah. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. Did you go through and rank our bits?
I started to.
And then you stopped.
And then I stopped because Table Strobe made me. I can't talk about it because we gotta keep it under wraps.
It's a secret. See,
I really
as a
did
juxtaposition to what we said earlier this podcast, where there's no secrets. There are some secrets. There are a few secrets because those are for the live show.
That one really did. It had me crying.
Okay.
I just could not compose myself after reading that. All of these, there's so many good ones, and I want nothing more than to do a live show, like one. just one where we just
I also
really lose it.
I also don't blame you for stopping at the one you stopped on, because this one's actually nothing. It just says give each other topics that we dislike to riff on or something, parenthesis WIP, work in progress.
It truly was like, it's the vaguest of ideas. It's like, to call it an idea is it's doing a lot of heavy lifting. I'll say that. Although the next one is so unbelievably funny, and I do want to implement that both in recorded and live shows. So just, we don't have to talk about it, but I just want to make sure that you're aware that I've got some plans.
Okay. I'm really scared now. I'm gonna move on from that. And do you want to hear another title?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Filter failure implies an unfiltered, funny approach.
That also just sounds like my AC unit needs my filter replaced. That's just nothing.
Filter failure. Maybe we could make it sort of a comedy, but also HVAC podcast. A funny HVAC podcast. Is that anything? How much do you know about HVAC systems?
I know a decent amount, but for two reasons. One, living in enough places in Arizona where the heat just makes them break. And also watching Technology Connections, which is one of the best YouTube channels of all time.
Bless.
Love Technology Connections. So here's the question I would want to ask. Is there an HVAC centered podcast that already exists? Is that a market that's so niche that it's ripe for someone to come in and have one?
Well, okay, so going back to step 2 or 1, I did say, find a niche. I'm sure it did.
I Googled HVAC podcast.
Do you see the first link?
There's no way.
Does it say the 7 best HVAC podcasts to stream in 2024? These all start with HVAC. These aren't very good names. Starting an HVAC podcast. If these podcasts entertain you, considering starting a podcast yourself. Oh, okay.
I'm a big fan of this link from feedspot.com that says 60 best HVAC podcasts you must follow in 2024.
It's starting to sound like this niche is a little full.
Which, even one seems like too many, if I'm being honest.
What do you talk about on an HVAC podcast?
I mean,
like, surely at some point that's it. You've talked about it all.
I mean, you could bring on guests who are in the industry and get their story. I don't know. I don't feel like that's something I would listen to.
The Napkin Scribblers. Subject suggests funny ideas come from anywhere. Pretty good.
I'm gonna be so real. That's nothing.
That one is really nothing. Unboxing nonsense. These are bad.
Put that one back in the box.
We've been recording for over an hour now.
Have we really?
Yeah. Hour and 5 minutes. I think what we need to do is really hunker down. We'll get serious.
Yeah.
I know we said this is a very unserious podcast. We're not serious people, but I'm serious now. I think we got to hunker down and at least get a name.
Okay.
Or else we can't progress to step 7.
No, I agree. And step 7, of course, is...
edit podcast.
Edit the podcast.
That's right.
Yeah. The thing that I'm going to have to do.
You don't have to. I can do it. I just don't have any experience doing it, but I can do it.
I can do it because I can do it fast.
I can do it because I would spend too much time on it.
That's so real.
Oh, Libsyn is an RSS feed service. Okay, great.
Oh, interesting.
Anyway, I'm on WikiHow right now. Because I want to see if there's something about coming up with a title. Okay, well, I Googled how to come up with a podcast name. And here's some things directly from Spotify for podcasters. Consider your content. Close your eyes and imagine your future podcast episodes. What do you plan to talk about? That one's kind of tough because we're not gonna.
We didn't even get that far.
We didn't get that. We kind of skipped the whole planning part. So we'll skip this one. Sorry, right underneath this paragraph where it says, what do you plan to talk about? It also says a great podcast name can be concrete and direct. And the example they give is the Michelle Obama podcast. I didn't know you can just take someone's name and make a podcast about it.
What's up? We're the Michelle Obama podcast.
Is this run by Michelle Obama?
No relation.
I am going to assume so. I'm going to have to assume so, because if it's not, that's
the
insane.
Michelle Obama podcast. There's not one that's just called the Michelle Obama podcast.
Hold on. There definitely is, because I see it on Spotify.
Oh, there is. You open it and it's just me. It's just a bit I've been planning for 3 years.
What an insane discovery. Before we even met, you're like, I know I'm going to need this one. You've just coerced. Everything you've ever done was to coerce me into clicking on the Michelle Obama podcast. Consider your content. I don't think we need to do that part. But it does say keep it succinct. So we want to be between 3 and 4 words and 15 to 20 characters. Short names roll off the tongue, easier to remember, and more convenient to say out loud. Yeah. So when we go and say something out loud, per se, perchance. Oh, what about the Perchance podcast?
God.
Podcast Perchance.
I swear to God, if you try and use podcast in the name, I'm going to kill you.
Okay, so maybe we'll avoid the word podcast. All right, keep it succinct. We'll keep that in the back of our brains. Keep it searchable.
Oh God, the SEO.
Yeah. Practice saying the name out loud. That's good, because if we don't know how to say it, then how are we going to tell anyone about it?
That's so real. That's so true.
Yeah. So I think we should, maybe this is implying make it hard to pronounce so that there's something satisfying about when you say it right.
Can we call it hors d'oeuvres?
It has absolutely nothing to do with food.
Is that anything?
Hors d'oeuvres. Is this hors d'oeuvres? Subtitle, is this anything?
Is this anything?
Oh, great news. There's a section here that says to podcast or not to podcast, which already would be a great name for a podcast. But it's talking exactly about what we're talking about. Should you use podcast in your title?
No. I don't care what it says, it's wrong.
It looks like a resounding probably not, is what Spotify says. Yeah, so they say including the word podcast in your show name could be useful, or could be a useful point of differentiation. Otherwise, we know what it is. Okay, fair.
I'm so ready to fist fight the Is This Anything dudes. I hope they hear this. I hope they hear this and they accept my challenge. I would like.
Hey, Is This Anything? We're going to be called Is This Anything Podcast.
Fist fight them.
I think I got the name, Kez. We're the Is This Anything Podcast. Because Spotify specifically says, including the word podcast in your show could be useful point of differentiation. So if we just differentiate ourselves from from Is This Anything with Is This Anything Podcast, I think we're winning.
They haven't posted shit in 2 years. If they liked their podcast so much, they would have kept doing it.
It's true. I'm going to a little recap real quick just for how to make a title. Aim for 4 words or less. Choose a name that aligns with your content. Maybe. Keep it succinct and intriguing. We need something interesting. We can't be the Color Beige podcast. Try to avoid the words the and podcast. So that's 2 pretty major ones that I didn't really consider about avoiding.
There goes my
podcast,
fucking idea of calling it the podcast. Is that anything?
The podcast subtitle, Is This Anything? Oh, the subtitle podcast. Oh no. If we just chop those 2 words, if we chop the bookends, it's just going to be called subtitle, which actually kind of goes crazy.
I just want something just so off the cuff nonsensical.
It also says avoid special characters, misspellings, abbreviations, and punctuation. The name should be easy to spell and pronounce. Make sure it's not already taken. Damn it. Gather some outside opinions. We're not doing that.
We're not
No,
doing
this is
that.
our show. What is this? A democracy? I don't think so.
Nope. It's us.
Think about how your show might evolve over time and choose a name that you like saying out loud. What if we chose a name that we hated saying?
For the sole purpose of us having to ever say it is just the biggest inconvenience.
Yeah, it just like sucks to say it.
We just picked the most like politically incorrect thing to name this podcast. Has nothing to do with the podcast, but saying it puts us in hot water.
Well, what's a word that you hate? What do you hate to say? You hate to say it.
You hate to say it's not a terrible podcast name.
That's actually a really good point. You hate to say it is pretty good. Okay, I'm putting that one on the dock. That's not bad.
You said it out loud and I was like, that kind of fucks.
But that, I feel like that implies that we have something to say. Like we have like a stance, you know? I will put it in the dock.
I'm going to kill all these people. Just kidding. I forget that I can't say that.
Okay.
I'm upset with all these people who use these podcast names because everyone decided they wanted to do a podcast but didn't consider my feelings.
And here's the bummer. We kind of missed the boat on the whole podcast craze. So, what
Honestly,
if we did an acronym? What if we just took Kez Dinghy, half hour, power hour, halftime show, spectacular 3000?
Does
and
it
just
turn
turned
into
it
something funny?
Into KDHHPHHSS 3000. That's great. That's really good.
Hey, that kind of
super
blows.
Yeah. What's a word that you don't like to say? I don't like the word Worcester or Worcester, like the sauce. What about the Worcester podcast? What about Worcester House? Oh, you know what? You know how Rooster Teeth went out of business recently?
Can we just be the Rooster Teeth podcast?
Now that's interesting.
They're gone.
Now,
so that's fucking up for grabs.
Think about the
baby.
SEO. Think about the SEO. People are like, oh, I haven't listened to the Rooster Teeth podcast. I'm like, wow, this is a lot different than I remember.
Who are these chumps? That would be very funny. Rest in peace, Rooster Teeth.
Yeah. What if we combine words we don't like to say with the Rooster Teeth podcast? So it's the Wooster Teeth podcast.
I really feel like we've lost the plot.
So are you telling me we need to center a little bit? We need to recenter?
I think we need to get back to ground zero because Mr. President, a second plane has hit the podcast and I don't think we're going to recover from this.
All right. I Googled hardest English words to pronounce, and some of these I disagree with. Rural, kernels, mischievous, onomatopoeia, draught, isthmus. These are not epitome. None of these are difficult to pronounce. I don't know. We've lost the plot almost entirely.
Can we call it Mr. President, a second plane has hit the podcast?
That's too wordy. It needs to be 3 to 4 words.
It's very funny, though.
What about the presidential? No, that's because there's a "the" in there. What about presidential pot? No, because there's podcast in there. What about Sleepy Joe's Big Adventure?
Sleepy Joe's Big Naturals.
And then we could have like different special episodes or like Sleepy Joe's at the big leagues.
Oh my fucking God, that would be so funny. But honestly, how soon would that bit run dry?
Immediately after he's not president anymore.
Yep. Which, hey, that would make the podcast real interesting for this year.
I think it would. What if I feel like we're getting close to something? Let's review our name ideas. We got Is This Everything? Serious About Jokes, parenthesis, a funny juxtaposition. Is This Anything in parentheses? Oh no, that's not the title. You hate to say it. I kind of like You Hate to Say It.
It already exists.
But again,
can you believe it?
It does.
But here's the thing. Whenever I go to determine if like a band name or if something is taken, if it really has no notoriety, it's just fucking mine. I'm yoinking it.
That's what they don't want you to know. You can just take them. You can just take those names. You know? I do think it would be problematic if we did have the name of as another podcast and then we tried to be on a podcast platform with that podcast, because I think that would really throw a wrench into things.
Sucks for them, don't it?
What about Too Hate to Say It? Like it's the sequel?
I don't like that at all. Buddy, that kind of blows. That was not your best work.
Let's see. What else? I need inspiration. Send me something inspiring. What inspires you,
Okay.
Kez?
You just need something inspiring?
Yeah. What inspires?
All you're asking for.
What?
Okay.
What do you think that we're going to talk about? We don't really talk about anything, so let's play into that.
Let's see. What can I send you
The
that's
Nothing
inspiring?
Podcast.
What do I have?
Nothing Nation. Nothing. Something with nothing. No, wait, because that's a phone company. I got the podcast name.
No,
I have gout.
No, we are not naming it. I have gout.
What about the Gout Gals?
That's funny for anyone else but us.
Yeah.
Like if two women decided they wanted to do a podcast called The Gout Gals, I would watch it or listen to it unironically. It would be very funny.
It could be, yeah, fart time.
Part-time parentheses is the same thing.
What if our podcast name was, yeah, fart time?
That'd be on brand, honestly.
I will get a soundboard and it will be hard to listen to. What about in parentheses finished? Like we have unfinished business, but like the is parentheses, so it's optional, so it could also just be finished. That wouldn't tie us down.
The lengths
says
you
it
had
right
to
there.
go. The lengths you had to
Done.
go to immediately explain it versus it standing on its own, I think answers your question.
All right. There's also a podcast already called Unfinished. So
I feel like every fucking podcast name is taken, therefore the sanctity of it is nothing.
we need to do what the drop shippers do on Amazon and just
come up with
choose
just a bonkers set of characters
just-
that mean nothing.
just 6 letters, and it just doesn't mean anything.
I also
Kez, quick, off the top of the dome, say something that doesn't mean anything.
coagulate.
Okay, I thought you were gonna do a phrase, but that works too. What about pun hats? No. What about let's see. I'm looking around. What about the sloppy Sal's Emporium? Sloppy Sal's jokes.
Nope.
The joke parade.
Duck, rubber duck bird.
What about clap hat? Clap hat?
Clap hat.
Is this anything?
Nope.
We're scrambling. We are scrambling.
Bird tape, bird weed, bird.
It's interesting that we can only think of 4-letter words to put together. That's interesting. Oh, hold on. Now that's interesting. That could be something.
That's 110% taken.
What about now that's uninteresting? What about
We just name it, hey, this kind of sucks.
okay, but hold on. What about this sucks podcast?
A
Okay, so
already
that does
exists.
exist.
There's no way that it doesn't. This episode is going to be so funny in hindsight because I wouldn't want it any other way.
I got it.
Got it?
Kinda sucks. I don't think it's a podcast. There is one called Dating Kinda Sucks, but that's not what this is about. This is just kinda sucks. Powerless.
This
Pupcast. Kez, Pupcast.
Here's the thing.
Pupcast.
That's so self-serving on my end.
It already exists too, so we can't even consider it.
So
There's
first
3
podcast I
podcasts
ever
called
did,
Pupcast.
the first fucking podcast I ever did back in 2011 was called Muttcast, and it was with my buddy Ty. Rest in peace. What a real one. But we did a podcast together. We had 2 episodes, and they were really bad.
Okay, well, we got one bad episode here right now. So.
This is so much better than that was. Can we appreciate that none of them are what I thought they were going to be?
Oh, about
I thought it was going to
kinky
be
shit?
furry shit.
Oh, no.
That's wild. I forget that the word has connotation outside of that community.
I forgot that the things exist outside of the fandom.
Yeah, well.
What about Power Punch? Powercast? Powercast.
I feel like I'm losing you.
That plays into the Power Hour thing.
I feel like is there anything we can pull from the live show name?
Powercast exists already. Let's see. It's Kez Dinghy, half hour, Power Hour, halftime show, Spectacular 3000. What if it was Spectacular Show, the Spectacular Show, the half? I'd like the idea of calling it something with half hour and then absolutely having it be like an hour long.
Just blow past the half hour mark.
Yeah, absolutely nothing half hour about this. Halftime. Ooh, halftime. We could get into sports. We could really get into sports and make a sports podcast.
I'm going to be so real with you. I forgot we were doing a podcast or that you existed for a good 4 or 5 seconds while I was playing with my bird's toes. And the whiplash to then realizing that I'm in a room with a microphone in front of me was unreal.
What about footcast? You brought up toes.
I mean,
should we cater to foot fetishes, maybe?
I'm so down because they're going to listen to it and be like, this has nothing to do with my interest.
This is not about feet. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot with our verbose live show name.
I feel like we shot ourselves in the feet when we didn't plan at all.
But think about it this way. We are live planning, and that's content, baby. I think we need everything we do from here on out is content.
This is episode 0.
This is episode 0 pilot.
Yes, this is our pilot episode to see if the networks will pick us up.
The social network. Why? It can't possibly be this hard to come up with a name, right?
It's hard if you care. That's the issue.
Yeah. What if we just didn't care?
If we didn't care, we would be called Is This Anything? And we would say, fuck those guys.
Maybe that'll be the subtitle. Fuck those guys.
They just stumble upon it one day and they're like, what the fuck did we do to you? Honestly, I'm so down to try and find any sort of build upon Is This Anything? Because I'm so invested in that as a name.
It is a really good name, but the problem is that's why it's taken.
Is it though? Is it truly taken?
I googled "This Is Something" podcast, and it doesn't seem to exist. Is "This Is Something" anything? I don't like that one.
I mean,
I don't like
we
that
could
one
do
very
like,
much.
Hey guys, is this anything as the podcast name? Just like add something to it.
Hey guys, is this anything?
Hey guys, comma, is this anything?
Hey guys, comma, is this anything? And then our fan base could be just the guys.
That is, yeah. I mean, there's nothing that our fan base.
Every podcast will start with, "Hey guys."
Wait.
No, hold on.
Wait, I'm kind of invested in this. I'm kind of really digging this on a completely unironic level. I kind of really fuck with this, and I kind of really want it to happen.
Hey guys, is this anything?
Hey guys, is this anything? Yes!
Is this anything?
Here's the thing, because this is just something that we have said so many times to each other and our friends. And if we're going to have our friends on the show, which I would love to do.
We're doing guests?
I would love to do guests at some point.
That completely changed. Why didn't you just say that from the start? We've been recording for an hour and a half, and I had no idea.
I like to switch it up. I like to keep it fresh.
That completely changes the whole dynamic.
But we're not going to change the
name. Is going to be so easy now. Hey, guests, is this anything? That sucks on a special sort of elevated, like outer shell electron, sort of level.
Holy shit.
Maybe when we have a guest on to kind of differentiate from the standard podcast, which is, "Hey guys, is this anything?" The ones that we have a guest on will be, "Hey guests, is this anything?"
Shut the fuck up.
You can't tell me that isn't pretty good.
It is
I mean, it
very
isn't,
funny.
but
I mean, I'm cool with introducing the episode as that versus like changing the name itself. Like it'll always just be "Hey guys, comma, is this anything?" But then when we like verbally introduce the show, you
we'll
know?
be like, hey, guess. We'll have a like goofy, fun sort of inflection on it.
Yeah, because that's
like
what
this.
we're really good at.
Yeah. We'll be like, hey, guests, is this anything?
I do have.
And then I'll get my teeth kicked in.
I do have 2 people I've already like mentally booked for this show.
You got people lined up?
I've got people lined up. I have one that is already confirmed that he's so down. And I just have to get the other one.
I don't know who this is, but I got Neil deGrasse Tyson ready to go. So whenever we want him.
Oh. No, yeah.
I think he's
Yeah.
I think he's related to Mike Tyson. Kez, is this anything?
Oh my god, you can't just say that. Holy shit. I was not ready. Oh. Hey guys, is this anything? That's so good. That's so good. And it's definitely not stepping on the toes of other That's so funny. That's the one. I'm putting my foot down. That's for the feet fetishists right there. I'm putting my foot. Wait, let me juxtapose all of these fucking niche interests I've discussed. Hello, feet people. Hey,
oh man.
Hey, feet people. Our podcast is now called Hey Guys, Is This Anything? This is a culmination of all of the things that we talked about in this episode. Did I tell you I have a secret ASMR YouTube channel?
If this is a bit, it would make sense. But also if it's true, I could see that.
Anyway, I think that's good. I think that's good for this episode. I think I want to like leave it on that.
Episode 0 in the books.
Episode 0, we did so good.
This shit is so easy. Thank you, Max Fun, for having us on the network.
Yeah, the easy podcasting for babies. Oh, wait.
Is that the title? Easy podcasting for babies?
That'd be a funny episode title. Easy podcasting for babies is actually very funny for episode 0.
Episode 0, easy podcasting for babies. Hey guys, is this anything?
Straight up.
I think that's good. I think that's our title. I think we just found the title.
That's it. Okay.
That's sick.
Well done,
well done. Shit,
well done, everybody.
That's tight. Holy shit.
I can't believe that we fucking hit record and bailed on the original name immediately.
I like it as a live show idea because it's got so much more gravitas, whereas this is just like run of the mill, like we're going to be cranking these out to make lots of money.
Yeah, for sure. Because we're not doing this to, hang out with each other and talk because we have a genuine vested interest. I can't stand you. You're one of the worst people I've ever met in my life, which is why we've talked about doing this for 2 years.
It's a good thing you're sitting down then, if you can't stand me.
On that note, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for listening.
Goodbye and good night.
Goodbye and good night. Let me play you out with whatever music I've decided to.
Hold on. Wait.
We
need a sign off. We need a cool sign off.
We do.
Because this is how we make sure that we get. This is the little taste. This is the little drug dealer taste to get your customer back for the next one.
What are we?
So we need something really good. Yeah. What if it was something like, thanks. Is that anything? I like the idea of doing a little joke and then saying, is that anything? And then that's the end of the podcast.
I think it'd be cool.
Fade in music. It'll be like the final Yahoo on Mabim.
My bird's about to shit all over me. Just have her shit on the mic.
That's the sound. That's the exit sound is a little.
I think it'd be cool if we can try it for this episode. It'll be really bad given that we haven't prepared for it. But if we prepare beforehand a bunch of is this anythings and just start reading them off. Oh, I do think that's very funny.
Yeah. That is really funny. Hold on. Let's
improv ideas, sketches, just what the fuck ever. I think that's really good.
I'm not, because I'm looking it up on Gemini, and Gemini will help us.
You know what? That's good.
So,
you use AI, and I'll prove that AI is trash by using my 100% homegrown dog brain.
The mime is right. Is that anything?
I'm not feeling that one.
Competitive crying. Is that anything?
Wait. That could be something. Competitive crying. I'd be really good at it. I mean, if it's can you cry on command, and like the speed at which you can cry, the sincerity in which your crying invokes emotion, that could be something.
That could be something.
We need to have
And
like a board. We need to have like a
end.
fucking rank board of like, is this anythings?
Actually, that'd be pretty good.
And then we can have it like on a website that we just update. I'm so down to Bernard. The Google Doc is so much funnier than anything that we'll possibly be able to do. Iron Chef, but you can only use your feet. Is that anything?
Is that anything?
Is that anything?
Do you think we should go back and forth?
Yeah, I think we should go back and forth, and then when we hit one that we can discuss.
Okay. Jury duty for a sandwich. Is that anything?
I don't think that's anything.
I don't think that's anything.
Was that an AI generated one?
It sure was.
Rock climbing, but all of the rocks have been replaced with Rocky Mountain oysters. Is that anything?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I just don't even know where that came from.
Joey Chestnut, gun violence. Is that anything?
I feel like it is, but it's not something that we would want to be legally liable for discussing on the show.
I don't think I want to condone that one.
Therefore, on that note, we can discuss it next time on, hey guys, is this anything?
And scene.
Yeah, that's.
Should we say it should we say the outro in unison? The hey guys, is this anything?
Yeah, let's see if we can time it. That's how we'll close this out. We'll practice our unison. And
Great.
And okay.
Chat, spoiler, they're not gonna get it. Anyway, bye from Future Kez.
So
what if we just cough into the microphone for 10 minutes? Is that anything?
That is. You know what? And on that note, we'll discuss that next time on Hey guys, is this anything?
Is this anything?
Perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
Choice.
That's the one. That's the fucking golden ticket, baby. All right, we're done. Listen to whatever fucking song I decided is gonna be the outro track.
Yeah, it's gonna be in there.
Listen.
What did you say earlier?
What did I say?
One take Jake. Or some real one take Jakes.
Or some real one take stakes on this plane.
Is that anything?
All right, bye. We're done.